Hello all, welcome once again. So today I'm going to continue off with the Expendables franchise with the third installment, and so far the last one, and hopefully there will be more. Apparently the fourth one has been confirmed for 2017, but sadly right now there has been no kind of news about it, so I don't really know right now, to be honest. I hope there is. It would be quite good for me personally for this sad fat guy right now, because all he needs in life is expendable films. That's all I need in life. So, I'm going to continue on with my usual kind of style where I'll do my reviews. I'll talk about the cast, then I'll talk about apparently the story of this film, and my pros, my cons, and the overview. So the cast is just the usual. They've all kind of mostly come back, bar from good old Bruce Willis, who decided that $4 million is just not enough for a week's work, and he was like, no, 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 no. I'm above the Expendables. I'm going to go do Die Hard 5 because that's going to be a hit and it's going to be amazing, that film. So he often done that, and well, we know that story, don't we? So yeah, that was a bit of a shame. And still no Mickey Rourke, who apparently I remember reading it. It was like, oh, he's coming back, Mickey Rourke, he's coming back, and then suddenly, no, he's not back, and I was a bit disappointed because I'd like to see him. Even though now he looks even worse because he got thinner, lost weight, and really bad plastic surgery, and the guy just looks like an absolute mess really now. But still, I still like him, to be honest. And so for the new cast we've got, there's some pretty good. I quite like the new cast, if I'm honest, because you've got Mel Gibson as the villain, who, you know, he is probably the best thing about this film, actually. He has probably some of the best scenes, and the reason why he makes such a good villain is because you can hate him quite easily. There really is no way about it. You just watch him on screen and it's like, oh god, you are quite a bad villain. You've not done anything, but you're just a bad villain. Wonder why. But the next other kind of the new bees in this film, which I love all. Antonio Banderas, I love in this film as well. Wesley Snipes, great. Harrison Ford, great. That's one thing about this film that is great, is the newcomers that come into this film, they really kind of give it some fresh injections of excitement, because the franchise obviously needs it. When you start getting on, you do need, you know, something to kind of boost it up. Jackie Chan possibly for Expendables 4, please do it. Stallone, I'm looking at you right now, you fuck. And also another one, which I remember at the start, people were like, him, really? But with Kelsey Grammer, who, don't get me wrong, I was like, Kelsey Grammer, really? He's going to be in this film? That's the most stupid bit of casting Stallone done. But for the role he's in, it makes sense. He's not shooting about and causing havoc. He is just literally his kind of role. He kind of gets mercenaries and all that. That's kind of like his kind of job, and I kind of like that that kind of role of him. I remember apparently that was supposed to be Nicolas Cage that was supposed to do it, so I've got a feeling at first it was like Nicolas Cage would be in that scene and then Nicolas Cage would have come back at the end for the big shoot off, I would imagine. But as soon as they got Kelsey Grammer, they were like, yeah, Kelsey Grammer can't really shoot for shit here, so that one's kind of out the park. And then also we've also got like the other kind of newbies, really babies of this one, which is a big problem for many people, is the young kind of team. Like we've got consists of Kellen Lutz, Ronda Rousey, Glenn Powell, and Victor Ortiz in it, and I'll come to those ones in a minute. But also we've also got a nice little cameo, I must say, from Robert Davi, who I really hope comes back, and there is going to be more of him, because I really like Robert Davi and I want more Robert Davi. Please, Stallone, do more Robert Davi. I would very much like that. So the story of this film, and for me this is actually the pro for me in this film, is the story. I do feel Stallone really tried with this one. He really was pushing for something a bit more meaty and a bit more kind of in depth with this film, because like it starts off with and it really starts off, I think it's a quite damn good intro. A little bit short, but it would have been nice a little bit longer, as the helicopter stunt with the train and all that, where the Expendables are freeing one of their Expendables and bringing him in of Wesley Snipes, and they get him. And there's a nice little line where he says of Whereas Hammer and Woodsman was like, alright, we're building up the mythology of the Expendables. There has been quite a bit more of these guys, and I'm liking that, you know. And then we move on to, I think it was Lagos, I think, remember. That's terrible. Great fan I am, remembering the way they go. Where we get Terry Crews, and sadly, because he was filming Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which I do like, actually, to be honest, a great show. He's not in this film much, and he was only in it for a wee bit, where we see him, and at this point we also see Mel Gibson's villain, which turns out that he was an ex-Expendable, which this is what I quite like about this film. It kind of builds up, and it's all about the new and the old of this film. That's basically the storyline of this film. And Stallone's character, Barney Ross, just realises that his team is just not enough for Mel Gibson, which kind of makes no sense when you see them, what they've been up against. I don't know if I really can I agree with that. But then, right, okay, it makes sense, because he saw Terry Crews' character really damaged, and he's like, yeah, I don't know if I can physically see my friends getting hurt now, really. So, okay, right. And it's a nice little, I like the ring that he gives. Barney Ross has his ring, his lucky ring, and he gives it to Terry Crews, and I really like that. There's nice little touches. So, like, that's kind of like most of the story. It's basically Barney Ross needs to get a new team, young ones. I don't know why. And he wants to go combat Mel Gibson. He needs to stop him and all that. That's basically with Harrison Ford coming in, grunting mostly, which I do quite like Harrison Ford in this one. So on to my pros with this film, and I do have quite a lot of pros with this film, and I have been kind of saying it is the story. I feel Stallone does kind of at least try with the story. He is kind of trying to give the actual Expendables a mythology to it of its past, of the fact that Mel Gibson's character, you know, used to be an Expendable, and he was part of the original team. I think that's what I was, or at least it was insinuating. I think it was the original team. As well as I love the new folk that came in. Antonio Banderas, Wesley Snipes are all great. I think they've got some good stuff in this. Harrison Ford looks like he's actually enjoying himself for once since the 90s, well, the early 90s, frankly, even that. He just looks like, even if you see the behind the scenes stuff of this film, he looks like he has more life to him. Like, he's really enjoying that by the looks of it, you know. And I like some of there's a lot of good action in here. Especially, I do love that intro with the helicopter stunt, where you can see for maybe 1 second it wasn't CGI. Sorry, especially when the train is going, and there's a big gun on top of the train, and he's trying to shoot the helicopter, so the helicopter kind of goes nearly on the tracks, and I was like, that's actually pretty. That's like some high class blockbuster kind of stuff. That is. I thought this was supposed to be quite a cheap, you know, budget as these films kind of do. But of course they do, and you kind of see where the lack of budget kind of comes in. But other kind of pros I have, there's a sequence I love with this film, and it's solely just in Barney Ross, of when it's near kind of like before the third act kind of time, and he's on his own, and he's looking pretty scared. It kind of shows you how quick Stallone is, I feel personally, where he's kind of. He's got a mix of emotions right now. He's a bit vulnerable, he's a bit weak, but he's trying to act strong, because if he didn't, you just, I think he would feel like anyone would go for him at that point in time. So that's like my pros that I have, which doesn't seem that many with this film. I do enjoy it, but I do have a lot of cons with this film, sadly. And the big con, which is a lot for anyone, like the critics and the fans, and I was the same, was all these, the newbies. I just do not care. The main point of this film was, the franchise even, sorry, is these older kind of actors, which is a joke, frankly. When you look at Jason Statham, who's like maybe late 30s, he's just standing there just like, cheers, thanks. Like there's scenes like that where, when the young ones are kind of saying, oh, grandpa and all that to the other ones, you're thinking, they're only like 10 years older than you, really, do you know what I mean? By right, Stallone and Dolph Lundgren are really the older ones. When you look at like Terry Crews and Randy Couture, like, they're quite still kind of young, really, to be fair, So yeah, there's a dialogue and the squibs. I've mentioned it 2 times before, and the problem with this one especially was they were trying to pass it off as PG-13, and that was the most stupid mistake they ever made. And it was a shame because you could tell they were like, you know, trying to be careful to try and appeal to a higher market, but people don't really care. People just want what it is, and it showed with Deadpool, with an R-rated film. If you do it right, it's great, you know. It was a shame with that, and I won't go on more about the new cast, how much I just did not like them. I don't like them. They feel very kind of out of place, bar from Ronda Rousey, but she is horrible at acting in this film. But it's because she's such a, you know, when she's fighting someone, you believe she's fighting someone. She probably would kill someone. She's the only one I would probably have back, as long as she just doesn't talk. Because when she does, it's the most wooden lines I think I've heard in cinema history, frankly. It really is quite bad. But again, when she's fighting, she's great. You know, I could watch her fight, and there's some great stuff in the third one when she does. But I just don't give her any many lines, really. That's the problem with the Expendables. I don't feel like there is much lines actually when you get a look through the films. It is mostly just punching and slow just going. Aah! And that's most watching. Anyway, so yeah, that's my kind of review here on Expendables 3. What do you think? I know mostly people do not like this film, so comment down below, tell me what you think, and hopefully we'll get on to Expendables 4 someday, hopefully. But until then, I've got a special video coming up, actually continuing on with really this one. I've done as a segment of who should be, and for this, obviously, the next video that I will be doing will be who should be in Expendables 4, and it's going to be my little fan cast of who I'd like to see in that film. So that should be coming up soon, that video. So until then, see you later.